Let's make a really fun SpongeBob SquarePants DIY bathroom. Welcome, I do sewing and DIY related content, and today we are going to be turning this boring half bath into a really fun SpongeBob SquarePants themed bathroom, mostly with just items that we make. So let's get started and see what we can do. We are starting off on our DIY journey to the SpongeBob bathroom with these towels. So I did pre-wash these towels. I bought 2 hand towels, and I'm going to be adding some ribbon to it just to make it more SpongeBob themed. So I got this ribbon. I did pre-wash it, so I would definitely recommend to do a test of your ribbon to make sure it's not going to bleed or anything when you wash it or if it gets wet. And I'm just going to be placing it in this decorative part of where the towel would be. So I feel like most towels have like this decorative indent, and I am putting my ribbon in there. So you could definitely measure how big that indent is on your towel if you want to try to get it to match up the entire space. And then you can also measure how large your towel is so that you know how much ribbon you will need. I had just bought a yard off of Etsy of the SpongeBob ribbon, and however much it worked for the towels, that was what I was going to be using. So as you can see here, I was able to get one whole side of my towel, and then I'm going to repeat this exact same process of just pinning it in place, and then I folded over each of the edges and I'm pinning it in place there so that it has this nice clean look on either side. So here's what it looks like, and then I'm just going to be taking a rectangle seam all the way around. So sewing both the top, the bottom, and then each side. Now for the back, I measured out how much space I needed for where the SpongeBob would go on the back layer, and just repeated that entire process of pinning the ribbon in place. And then at the edges, as you can see here, I folded over each edge so that it would have this nice clean look, and then I also pinned that down in place so that when it came to sewing it would be a lot easier. And then I just made sure that when I'm sewing this, I'm going to be using a yellow thread so that it doesn't stand out. You could definitely use a contrasting thread if you would like though. And then this gave me a little bit of ribbon left over that I was able to use on the second towel, but it really depends on how many towels you want to make this with for how much ribbon you need. So if you were only doing one hand towel, a yard of ribbon is definitely more than enough. So now I'm just going to go through and do all those seams to hold the ribbon in place. Now on my sewing machine, as you can see here, I'm going to be taking a seam as close to the edge of that ribbon as I can. So I'm just doing a straight stitch very close to the edge of the ribbon so that it's not actually going over the ribbon, and just making sure that I take my time and sew all the way down. Now I found that this was actually a really easy seam to do. My only challenge with it was making sure that I was as close to the edge of the ribbon as possible, since the design on this was SpongeBob's face and I didn't want to sew over that. Then when I got to the corners, I just pivoted the fabric for each of those edges so that it would be a really nice, clean, and even seam, and then I just continued it all the way along, making sure that I was as close to the edge of the ribbon as possible the entire time. This will give you a really nice and even finish, and then when you get to the end, be sure that you are also backstitching and doing this at the beginning so that you hold it in place. Now as you can see here, I then pivoted one last time to do this final short edge, and then I sewed all the way down, I backstitched, and then I just took the towel off of the sewing machine as the ribbon was now secured in place, and that's all that you have to do to get the ribbon onto the towel. It looks really nice, so this is what the final seam looks like. I love how it turned out, and then when you look at the back of it, you also can't see the seam on the back. So now I'm just going to be repeating that entire process for the other side that I had the ribbon on, and just taking my time sewing as closely to the edge as possible so that I can have it attached to the towel. I think it turned out so cute though. This may be like one of my favorite ways to do towels, and I'm probably going to be making a lot more of these just because of how fun and easy it was to do. Now it's time to move on to some painting. So for the bathroom, I really wanted it to have multiple different SpongeBob related ideas. So the first that I'm going to be doing is trying to paint Bolden Brash. So I know that this episode is so funny, and there's so many different memes now that have come from this episode. So the first step that I did to try to recreate Bolden Brash myself is making this like swirly mustardy color background, so that will be what Bolden Brash is going on. I've seen online that people do a lot of different options for colors, making this super light, making it darker. I tried to do a mix where the top was a little darker and then having it so that I can see where I'm going to be drawing out Bolden Brash. And then once this all dried, I then took my pencil and started to trace out, like where I wanted Bolden Brash to go. So you can see on here very lightly how I had traced it, and then I'm going to be using the white and painting over it so that I know where Bolden Brash is actually going to be going. And this way also I make sure that the paint actually stands out a lot better against this background, and I found this was like a really easy way to do it. I also did it on the smaller canvas just in case it kind of turned out a little weird. It wasn't like this huge eyesore, but I think it looks really good. So this is what it looks like, and now it was just time to actually paint it the bold and brash color, so I went with this very Squidward looking color, and then I just added some details for the eyes and just a little detailing around the rest of the body. Now to get it to hang up in the bathroom, I did use some hot glue and some ribbon just so that it would have a nice touch. Then it was time to start working on some other paintings. So I did one for SpongeBob and Patrick, as I really wanted this to be the main focal point, and this paint took a long time. It was also really funny that SpongeBob looked so creepy without the pupils, so I will definitely be adding those. Now it's much better. And this painting is going to be like the main part of the bathroom. I'm so excited about it. I just need to do a few more details. I really wanted to make sure that everything stood out and looked really, really good. And I think that it came together really well, and I was very excited for how it looked. Now the final thing that I did with the bathroom is that I had made this DIY toilet paper cover, and I have a whole other video on this where I go into the details of how I did all of this, but this was such a fun and easy little project. I went with the pineapple fabric because it matches SpongeBob's house, and I thought that this was such an easy way, plus it gave you actually a really good way to hold extra rolls of toilet paper just as an emergency situation. And then I'm just going to be having this on one of our cabinets that we have in the bathroom, adding that little ribbon on top of it. And I think that this will be a final cute little touch. So now it's just time to really put everything together for the bathroom. So here are all the items I have for the bathroom. There was one thing I did buy, and it was this cute little sponge holder that's in the shape of SpongeBob. Like, look how cute this is. So it sits on like a shelf or on a stand, and it came with a sponge that looks like SpongeBob, and it did come with extra yellow sponges as well. But as a reminder, this is what the bathroom looks like. So super plain, super boring. It's just a half bath, and we are going to be adding all those little items that I've made, as well as the cute little SpongeBob sponge holder that I got. He's going to be going up here with a couple other items, but it's going to look so cute. I also added the towel, so instead of this white towel, we are adding our fun SpongeBob themed towel that I showed how to make earlier. And then up on top, I also did add the extra towel that I had, as well as some little decorations. But now it is time for the grand reveal. So here is the bathroom. So I love how the painting turned out. It is so bright and so colorful, and I really think it does a great job in this bathroom. Up the top we have our towel. I did end up putting the toilet paper holder up here instead of on the sink, so I think that this works a lot better and you're able to see it. And then over on this side of the bathroom, again, we have the painting, which is just so bright and colorful. We have the towel that we talked about earlier that looks really fun, really great against the walls. And then I added a few little decorations. So I have the crab here, and then here is Bold and Brash, which is just such a funny painting to include in here, but I think it really ties the whole bathroom together. I had so much fun doing this DIY. Everything was really cheap. I think in total it probably came to around $35. I already had the canvases and paint though, so if you were thinking about doing this yourself, take that into account if you do not have those. I will include a link also to SpongeBob in the description. If you like this video and want to see more, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.